Let's go straight now to my next guest, James Matthewson. He's a former Labour Party spokesman, to talk about all these battles between Elon Musk, Keir Starmer and Kemi Badenoch and you name it, everybody. Very good morning to you, James.
Good morning, Julia.
Thank you for joining us. What did you make of Keir Starmer's pre-prepared words, expecting a question on his autocue, his answer about Elon Musk? He didn't name him. He managed not to say the words Elon or Musk at any point, but he accused Elon Musk of spreading lies and misinformation on the grooming gang scandal. And I certainly agree with Keir Starmer in terms of some of the attacks on, like, Jess Phillips, some of the language, rape, genocide, apologist and things like that. I mean, should be in jail. Absolutely over the top. Also, stop using the word genocide when it's not a genocide. But he also called those people calling for a grooming gang inquiry to be people jumping on the far right bandwagon. Kemi Badenoch has hit back saying that was smear tactics by the Prime Minister. Did you agree with the Prime Minister when he said that?
Yeah, of course I did. I really do. I mean, at the moment we've got a very complex situation, which has been made complex by one man, but that's by not Elon Musk, but by Donald Trump, because Donald Trump has obviously had this relationship with Elon Musk that even defies his own ideological base, because he's having these disputes with his kind of MAGA loyalists between Elon Musk's opinion on different things where they differ. And now you've seen Elon Musk attack Nigel Farage, who is a friend of Donald Trump as well. And he's just kind of a loose cannon on a lot of this stuff, because anyone who knows or has followed Elon Musk for some time knows that he's not a guy who is driven by political ideology. He's driven by whatever he's read on his own platform, Twitter, and the conspiracy theories that he believes.
I can see some of the people that he follows, that he replies a lot to, and I can see how his views have gotten that way. But I mean, I'm not quite sure some of the language Elon Musk used, definitely over the top on this. And people are saying that, he hasn't exposed anything. Every single thing that was said was already well known. Just not to those people, and not particularly to the ignorant Americans who are constantly tweeting me as if I'm part of the establishment and the cover-up here. They know as little as Elon Musk.
You get it bad. I've had 825 death threats from Americans.
Wow, that seems too many. I would say 125 too many, but wow. But there wasn't any lies. There weren't any lies or misinformation spread by Elon Musk on the substance of this, was there?
Yes, there are, because it's the things that he's connecting things to. And look, all of these gang trafficking and rape situations are horrendous, and rightly so should be looked at to any extent, as many times as they need to be. However, the connections that he's linking between conspiracy theories that are online and doing rounds in circles, conspiracy theories that even conservative and some of the most conservative commentators in this country don't bite at, because they know that they're online conspiracy theories. And the link is quite clear between the likes of the QAnon stuff that we saw in America, between paedophilic cults and the idea that Hillary Clinton had children in some pizza shop basement. It's things like that Elon Musk is using. And there has to be a line, especially when this is a foreign billionaire who's making these claims.
There is that. I mean, we can all have opinions, but it does appear when Elon Musk's talking about, should we try and, have a poll on freeing the British from their tyrannical government, demanding we have a fresh general election. Now, having an opinion on whether or not you think Donald Trump or Kamala Harris is the best or the worst candidate. Now, we're all entitled to give those opinions, as is Elon Musk. But when he's sort of demanding that we have an election, I'm like, hold on a minute, who the hell are you? You don't even understand our political system. However, when Keir Starmer says that those who are calling for a grooming gang inquiry are jumping on a far-right bandwagon, that's a bit rich, given that people like Maggie Oliver, the Rochdale rape gang scandal whistleblower, wants there to be a grooming gang inquiry. There has never been a nationwide grooming gang inquiry. The one followed by Professor Alexis Jay, reported in 2022, in 7 years of taking evidence, only spent 10 days on grooming gangs. Mentioned, I think, Rotherham once, got one mention. I mean, there hasn't been a proper inquiry into this. It can't be a local inquiry, because part of the issue is local politicians, police and others covering up the scandal for many years rather than actually prosecuting these men because of their concerns about community tensions, in their words. So So how on earth is someone, whether they are Kemi Badenoch, Nigel Farage or anyone else, calling for an inquiry into the grooming gangs, how is that jumping on a far-right bandwagon?
Because there's two elements at play here. There are people who, rightly so, as you say, are concerned about the issue and who want the issue addressed and who want a national inquiry. That's absolutely fine. The problem is, and this is what happens time and time again, this is why your last caller is so wrong about Tommy Robinson, because the far right in Britain is seeking to use this, as they always do. They use legitimate causes and the suffering of ordinary people to try and further that.
Who are the far right?
The far right in Britain, it's a collective movement, as all of it. There's different elements to it.
Is Kemi Badenoch on the far right?
No, Kemi Badenoch isn't, but Nigel Farage is.
Nigel Farage is on the far right. What puts him on the far right?
Yeah, what's that?
What puts him on the far right?
It's politics, Julia.
Like what? Give me an example.
Right. Because he's far to the right of politics. Like Kemi Badenoch.
No. You know that far right has a very different meaning from far to the right of politics. What policies does Nigel Farage have that you think are far right?
What would you call Jeremy Corbyn far left?
Hard left. Far left, yes. I mean, he's a communist.
He's not a communist.
Isn't he?
No.
You don't think he is?
He was a member of the Labour Party.
He may have been a member of the Labour Party, but he's a full-on commie. Come give me a break. Right. He's hard left. He's far left. You know the associations. No. James, in Western discourse on these issues, saying someone is far left and saying someone's far right, very different connotations. When you say far right, you're equating someone with the Nazis, with the BNP. What policies and views does Nigel Farage hold that you believe are far right?
That's not
true. If you
true.
don't think Kemi Badenoch's far right, but you think Nigel Farage is?
No, it's not true. It's not an equivocation immediately, because I'm not calling him a fascist. What I'm saying is that he's a far right politician. His politics are far to the right.
Which? I've asked three times now. What politics? What policies?
Everything that the man talks about.
Everything. Net zero. Wanted to get rid of net zero. Is that far right?
Yes, that's predominantly
far right.
followed by far right politicians, by strong conservatives, hard conservatives.
They're far right.
You agree with me on this, because that's where your politics also lie, Julia.
I'm far right.
Well, you're to the hard right. You are known as a hard right commentator. You know this yourself.
Right. And
this is the fascination I have. And your last caller highlighted this well. Your last caller had a problem with Tommy Robinson being called far right. Can you imagine? What is he? Where do you think his politics lie? This is not a problem. We have a left to right political spectrum and an axis that maps out people's political views.
Yeah.
Just where you lie on it. It's not a slur. It's just
you know perfectly well it's used as a slur.
Well, listen, as somebody who's been called far left for many years, I know that it's intended as an insult, but it's not. It's about identity.
Far left is a description. I mean, far right. When Starmer talks about a far right bandwagon, he means it as an insult. He means it as a slur.
I mean, as a bandwagon is, because drumming up, using legitimate causes to drum up support for your own political endeavours. What do you make? As Tommy Robinson has done his whole career. That's what he's on about.
What do you make of Robert Jenrick and his comments this morning, saying that the grooming gang scandal started with the onset of mass migration, and that some migrants who come to the UK have backward, he says, frankly medieval attitudes to women, and basically that's how we got here to the grooming gang scandal. Is that a far right thing to say?
I think Robert Jenrick is allowing himself, as some members of the Conservative Party have for some time, to be wooed by the far right, and some of that language that he's using is intended as red meat for those people.
Which language? Do you think that there are any cultures around the world where people come from en masse to this country which are backward or frankly medieval, or do you think, for instance, the culture in Pakistan is absolutely the same as ours, full Western liberal values? Are they the same thing?
No, it's not about what I think on this. It's about the words that politicians use, because they're loaded and because they matter. Because politicians have a platform, they have a right, they represent us, and it means something when a politician says that and takes aim at a specific culture.
If it's true, is he allowed to say it?
Well, I wouldn't say that it is true. Who's he talking about?
He's quite clear. When we talk about British Pakistani men coming from a culture where women aren't valued, where certainly non-Muslim girls are not valued because of the culture in Pakistan, bringing that over here, not assimilating, not integrating, and imposing those views virtually on the white working class girls in their community, and that led to the rapes and the torture.
It's not. I have yet to see an example of this happen in any of my friends who are from Pakistani descent, even first generation, second generation.
I'm going to throw this out there. There are people from every single country who come from different values and different classes and education levels and may have different views. I know this is a mad idea. We don't actually think everyone's the same from every country.
No, but that's why casting aspersions are saying the majority of them.
That's why you said some immigrants who come to the UK have backward, frankly, medieval attitudes to women. That's true, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, when you come to this country, thankfully, our police and our laws that govern this country protect women and protect people.
Like they did. They did in Rotherham, Rochdale and Telford and Oxford and Luton and everywhere else.
That's why there's calls for an inquiry, Julie, because they didn't.
But hold on a minute. If you call for inquiry, then you're jumping on a far-right bandwagon. Do try to keep up, James.
I'm not saying that I agree with every word Keir Starmer said on this. What I'm trying to say is that the reason he's tackling the far-right element here is because that's the politics that's at play.
Wait a minute. Do you think tackling the far-right element here is the issue, or tackling the people who are beating, torturing and gang-raping little girls? I mean, I don't know. Julia, there's a priority. Which one should we go for, James?
Here is the fascinating thing about this whole thing, okay? And you know this statistically, that these gang rapes make up 3% of sexual assaults to women in Britain, okay? 3%. And yet these men, Tommy Robinson, Elon Musk, these bigots are not bothered 90% of the time. I don't see them standing outside other rape trials. I don't see them talking about, by the way, the 6 convicted paedophiles who were associated with Tommy Robinson, who were part of the EDL, who he stood with on marches. I don't see them being bothered about those people.
The vast majority of child abuse in this country is committed by white men. Why? Because the vast majority of people in this country are white. However, in terms of the grooming gang scandals, this is predominantly an issue with British Pakistani men. That is why that is a particular issue. And the reason why people are focused on that is because it was not tackled by the police, by social workers, by anybody, because they were Pakistani descent.
Yeah, in that case, absolutely. But we're talking on an international stage here about Elon Musk making this country sound like gang rapists are running riot without any consequences.
Well, there weren't for years, and they're still doing it now.
Yes, but you know that's misinformation as the current state is.
James.
Because we're talking about this. Nobody is in dispute about how horrific it is. But the problem is, why, Julia? Why are they focusing on the ethnicity of these rapists?
Because the reason why people weren't prosecuted and it happened on the grand scale and is still happening is because of the ethnicity and the religion of the perpetrators. You know that, I know that. It's been all the requires reports, and anyone pointing out apparently is just jumping on a far-right bandwagon.